Welcome back to TechnoSage YouTube channel. So we know like Alan Wake already has pretty insane requirement, but now Nvidia has implemented a new feature which is called full ray tracing. It is basically path tracing and with ray reconstruction on, and on full ray tracing mode it looks pretty insane. Like it looks like picture quality which the games were looking. And Alan Wake 2 system requirements, I already made a video on it. It's pretty insane. It's it's for RTX 40 series, and now we have some news regarding RTX 4090. Not news regarding RTX 4090, but when you turn on this full reconstruction support for RTX 4090, even with DLSS 3.5, you are getting upwards of 100 frames. Like in some scenarios, it dips to 100 to 90 frames per second, which is truly insane. Like full ray tracing brings RTX 4090 to its knees. And yeah, when it's turned off, like when DLSS 3.5, like the frame generation is turned off, you get only 30 frames per second, which is terrible on RTX 4090 because these cards are pretty insane, pretty pricey also. Next up, we have some news regarding RTX 4080 and 4070 Super. It comes from Copilot 7 I already made a video on it that it will be based on 8102, but according to him, in his opinion, there may be a chip mixing of RTX 4080 Super and 4070 Super, which means like 4080 Super can use a GPU die of 8102 or 8103. And 8102 and 103 is just like a GPU configuration, as you can see is the die configuration which is made of. And when there is a defect, you have like the lower end cards. Like if you consider 8104, you have RTX 4070, 4070 Ti, 4080 and stuff. Like if it's made for 4070 Ti, and if there is a defect, then some cores are disabled and you make it from 4070 into 4070. But if there's two different configuration for 8102 and 8103 is being used for RTX 4080 Super, then they should find a way to make the performance similar using two different configuration, because 8102 will be more powerful compared to 8103. So yeah, let's see how things turns out to be, because it's weird to see like Nvidia is doing it and Nvidia does these things. But yeah, it's nice to see whether this turns out to be true and whether how they deal with the performance issues. And in the similar case with 80 RTX 4070 Super, like they will use 8103 GPU die and 8104, which is also weird to see. The main thing will be the performance. It should remain the same across two different GPU configurations, two different 8103 GPU die configurations. Next up, we have some news regarding some GPUs, which is bad news. Like we know, like from Kepler, like they and AMD is going to drop support for GCM products this year, and it has been started, which includes Polaris and Vega GPUs like RX 580, RX 400 series, RX 500 series, and uh, Vega 64. And Vulkan driver support has been dropped for Polaris and Vega architecture on Linux, as you can see. Drop support for GFX 8 and 9 ASCs. So yeah, it's started, but as of now, they didn't drop support for Windows. But which is weird to see because 590 is supported for frame generation, software level frame generation, not typical frame generation with DirectX, but yeah, software level frame generation in the games. But it's also weird because that GPU hasn't got any software update for last few months or so. So yeah, it's weird to see. But yeah, let's see how things turns out. But yeah, these GPUs are going out of software support pretty soon, so keep that in mind. If you have these GPUs, now it's the time for you to upgrade to like the latest generation of AMD GPUs if you want AMD, or you can go with Nvidia, depends on you. But yeah, RX 8000. But the thing would be to see like Ryzen 5 uses 5000 series still uses the integrated APU which is based on Vega. So is the support for them also dropping? We need to see. Next up, we have some bad news for Intel and a good news for Nvidia, because Nvidia is planning to enter the CPU market for desktop, not kind of a desktop, not x86 architecture, but ARM-based PCs chips. And they had announced like they will make ARM-based PC chips by Nvidia, and as soon as they heard it, their stocks increased by 3%, and Intel's stock dropped by 3%. So yeah, it's a pretty big margin. And AMD is also planning to make ARM-based chips, which is coming in 2025. We already have M2, which is based on ARM. Intel is the only one which is not doing it for ARM-based CPUs. And the thing is, uh, and the most important thing, which is like the Snapdragon 8 X CPUs has been launched, which also supports ARM, which is based on ARM and which also supports Linux. And on top of that, Windows also supports ARM-based CPUs on a native level. So there is incentive to make ARM-based CPUs, but Intel is not doing it. And now AMD and Nvidia is going to sell these PC chips as soon as 2025, which is insane to see. Like we will have low-powered, highly efficient chips and maybe more powerful by Nvidia, and maybe Nvidia will enter x64 market also. But yeah, that's it from me today. What do you think about the new sound? Of your thoughts in the comment section below? Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll meet you in the next one. Peace out.